Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today I want to show you another weird deck that has gone and done some winning over in Japan that I'm willing to bet is not on your radar, but I think maybe it should be. Because my boy Okidogi is good, and I'm telling you right now, and I've said this on the channel a bunch of times, this is a card which I thought was awesome. I thought had a huge potential, I was very excited about, and up until very recently has been, to put it very politely, a little bit underwhelming. But no longer. Okidogi is here. And look, on the face of it, this card seems great. The ability Adrena Power says that if you've got any darkness energy attached, you get an extra 100 HP and your attacks do 100 more damage. So you deal 170 damage while having 230 HP on a basic Pokemon. That sounds good. And yes, I am fully aware that you need darkness energy on there, but don't worry your pretty little heads about it, because luminous energy is a thing. And it provides every type of energy. So if you attach a luminous energy here, that luminous energy is a fighting energy to pay the attack cost. And it's also a darkness energy to give yourself the extra boost. Now, it only counts as one energy, but that energy it counts as is both darkness and fighting, depending on how you need it. So we can use it as a 2-energy attack. And then it's a 2-energy attack on a basic Pokemon that's doing 170 damage with a 230 HP Pokemon. Except it's not actually a 230 HP Pokemon, because there is one new Pokemon here that we need to have a good old chat about, which has gone and entered the fray. And it is the new Ludicolo. This new Ludicolo is ludicrously fun in this deck. Nailed it. Because actually, this is part of the reason why this deck might actually finally be relevant. Because the Ludicolo from Battle Partners, the attack is free energy 130. It's garbage, don't use it. But it's got an ability whereby as long as it's in play, all of your Pokemon's maximum HP is increased by 40, although the effect very deliberately does not stack. But now all of a sudden, you're not a 130 HP Pokemon, you're a 270 HP Pokemon. You have more than doubled your initial HP. And you're still only giving up one prize. That's a win, ladies and gentlemen. That is an absolute win. And actually, while we're talking about this whole raising your HP malarkey, it is worth noting we do have a stadium here as well. And the stadium's kind of fun. And I'm sure a lot of you have guessed at this point that it is actually Lively Stadium from Surging Sparks, which says that each basic Pokemon in play, yours and your opponent's, gets an extra 30 HP. So now you don't have 130 HP, you have 300. 130 plus 100 for your ability goes to 230, plus 40 for Ludicolo goes to 270, plus 30 for Lively Stadium goes up to 300. And you're still a single prize Pokemon, hitting for 170 damage. Because actually, low-key, 170 damage isn't that great. It's fine. If you're hitting for weakness, it's perfect. 340, one-hit KO on anything. But if you're not hitting for weakness, it's kind of, you're 2-hit KOing. You're probably one-hit KOing a lot of single-prize Pokemon. You're one-hit KOing anything this week. Otherwise, you're 2-hit KOing. But you're rocking a 300 HP single-prize Pokemon here. That is ridiculous. And that's why this deck works. Now, obviously here, if we're playing around with Darkness Energy, and we're playing around with huge HP, Munkidori becomes an absolute no-brainer. You get to move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponents. Well, you've got a fair bit of survivability here, so you can start moving that damage off with Munkidori. You're not really playing any energy acceleration here, so it's kind of a, when you're surviving, you take a hit, you don't need to attach an energy for a turn, you can afford to put an energy on Munkidori. That's my biggest issue with the deck, incidentally, is the fact that you need to attach twice to Okidogi, and then you've got to attach manually to Monkey Dory, and it's kind of annoying, but there we go. To that end, obviously we are playing Turbo Energize here. It's just a tool that lets you attach an energy to each of two basic energy to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Probably one to each of two at this point. So that's kind of nice. You know, you're not going to be attacking turn one going second, so this does become a really nice option in that regard. So the energy worries me, but that's your answer. Elsewhere, we've got ourselves a Badoo, because it's Badoo, 0 energy, 10 damage. Your opponent can't play item cards on the hand during their next turn. Essentially, you need a bit of time here sometimes. Sometimes you need a bit of time to set up, to get rolling, especially with your energy, and also to evolve up into your Ludicolo and all of that. So Badoo just comes along and buys you a little bit of time, and that's lovely. Obviously, we're playing Fezandipity here, because if you had a Pokemon code last turn, you draw 3 cards. Like, everyone's playing Fezandipity. This is the whole point of this deck, is that you're playing a single prize Pokemon that should have about 300 HP when it's working properly. You don't want to play a 2-prize Fezandipity, but it's that good. Try obviously not benching it until you have to. And then you've got our old friend Tatsugiri. I love Tatsugiri. The phenomenally named Attract Customers lets you, if it's active, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, find a supporter and put it into your hand. It's just added consistency. That and Fezandipity are how you're getting the consistency here. And that is the deck in a nutshell. It's basically Okidogi, boosted up with Ludicolo and Lively Stadium, doing a bunch of damage. You've then got your Monkey Dory coming in to move damage around when you survive, and jobs are good 'un. There are some other trainers we should quickly point out here, because you know what? I have actually neglected to mention Bravery Charm. You've not got 300, you got 350. Yeah, you do. 350 HP on a basic Pokemon is absolutely absurd. Bravery Charm still in the format. Came out on Paldea Evolved. Same as Luminous Energy. When Paldea Evolved goes away, this deck is going to suffer massively. But for the time being, we're all good. So now we're not at 300 like I was telling you a minute ago. We're actually all the way up to 350. And that's just silly at this point. Absolutely silly. Arven becomes very important here like it does in a lot of decks. Because obviously you need your Bravery Charm at the right time. You need your Turbo Energize at the right time. So getting an item and a tool, Arven sees a lot of play in a lot of decks right now, and this is one of those ones where Arven just absolutely shines. We do also play a town store for what it's worth, because again, we've got a bunch of tools here. Having one more option to go and get them is good. Most of the time, we probably want Lively Stadium, because that extra HP is phenomenal. But it's still nice to have an option of this as well. I would be tempted to go for an extra Lively Stadium, but I do understand that sometimes getting those tools is too good. We are playing a bunch of Counter Catcher here, and I really like this. Counter Catcher here is essentially saying, look, it might take me a couple turns to get going. There's a decent chance I'm using Badoo for a couple of turns. But once I've got my Ludicolo and everything else, and I've got some energy on the board, at that point, this deck becomes super strong. So why not have Counter Catcher for those games where you go a little bit behind? Now, I should mention we actually play Colress's Tenacity here. Which, this card is awkward because it opens you up for plays with any deck that is coming along with Kyurem. Kyurem is great, and it's just if Colress's Tenacity is in your discard pile, which is going to be very hard to avoid playing free copies, but your stadiums are too important here. Yes, Kyurem is a pain, but it is worth noting that a lot of your main Pokemon will be taken out of key Kyurem numbers by your Ludicolo. Fezandipity is now a 2-hit KO for Kyurem rather than a 1-hit KO. You're not 1-hit KOing Monkey Dory, so you are getting that extra survivability, which should help a little bit against that. And it is worth noting that your A-Spec of choice here is Precious Trolley. It's not a terribly exciting A-Spec, but this is one of those decks where you need to get all of your basics out, and especially like turn 1 Lotad to get evolving up. So, yeah, you are going to need Precious Trolley here. This is the one that makes the most sense. Here's the deck list as a whole. I love this. This is a deck that makes me very, very happy. It's a weird kind of deck. It's a different kind of deck. But if you're giving me a 350 HP single prize basic Pokemon, that is, I mean, it's higher than the highest natural HP we see in the game. That is kind of absurd and brilliant. I like this. I think this is awesome. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Martin Cornwall, who's been a supporter of ours since, well, literally since I started the podcast back in 2012. So shout out to Martin for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.